Welcome in, everybody, to the High Noon Show with me, Pugs Moran, the first of two streams we do each and every day here on the Radio Misfits podcast platform. We do this one high noon every Monday through Friday, noon till whenever. And then we come back around 9 o'clock and we do something we call Pillow Talk with Pugs and Parker. James Parker joins me. That one's more conversational. That one's a little bit more less structured. What you get here with the High Noon Show, the one that you're tuned into right now, this is all about topics, breaking news, headlines, pop culture, current events driven, that sort of thing. We just talk about everything that's happening in the world today, and we try and give you a little cheat sheet so you can go about your merry business, not feeling like you're left out on any of the things that the cool people are talking about. I have to apologize, a couple of minutes late here. Hey, Byron, how are you? Welcome in. Byron's in the chat room. Please join the chat room. Mix it up. I've had some new people in the chat room over the weekend with the additional coverage that I've been doing of the war in Ukraine. I have to, I was going to do the high noon, still am. The plan, however, the way I had sort of formatted this show here, we were going to just do the normal stuff. We were going to do a normal high noon show for you. We were going to run through the topics, and then we were going to switch over to our Ukraine coverage. But there are things happening right now, so I figured I should switch that around. New satellite imagery shows a massive column of Russian military just outside of Kiev. Recently, here, we'll pull up the pictures while we're talking here, just so you. Just within the last 20 minutes or so. There we go. We got that up. Okay, we're looking at these 9 different views of Kiev. It had been fairly quiet all morning. By the way, it is now 8:07 p.m. in Kiev, the capital city of the Ukraine. It does appear that the capital city is now completely surrounded by invaders. Just within the last 20 minutes or so, there were air raid sirens. There were loud explosions that you could hear. Gunfire erupted. There was some form of a shootout that was going on. And just about 2 minutes before we signed on, that seems to have died down for the moment. But let's see, we've got 9 cameras here that we're watching. It is the middle left, one with the big yellow writing. That's the one that has the sound, so that any sort of a siren or explosion or gunfire that you'll be hearing is coming from that area. That is Monastery Central Square. Let me see if I can pull that up. Let's see if we can find Monastery Central Square. Okay. Just so we can get a better idea of that. There's a whole bunch of stuff has been going on. They've been meeting all morning, all morning for us, all day for them. The Russian delegation and the Ukrainian delegation had agreed to speak. They met in a town just north of Chernobyl on the Pripyat River. Again, please forgive me for some of these pronunciations. I have no idea what some of these are. On the Pripyat River, nothing came out of them. As was fairly, nobody really thought that anything big was going to come out of them. There was hope, but all right. So here's what we're going to be looking for. We're looking for in Kiev. You say Kiev, I say Kiev, whatever. Hold on, let's get back to it. So where is that? That is Monastery. Let's see, let me pull that up for you. Hold on. Monastery Central Square. Okay, let's see what we're looking at. Let's see where that gets us on the map. All right, well, it seems that we've got a number Okay, that doesn't really give us any help. Let me see if I can move in a little bit here. Again, with the ongoing war coverage, I'm going to be a little bit less performative than I typically am. I'm going to be paying attention to, there's Sophia Square, St. Michael's Golden Dome Square. Let me see here. I know you're not seeing this. I just okay. All right, I guess. Okay, this is it. Okay, we found it. So I will show you where we're looking at on that one. Again, it's the oh, wait a second. No, I'm wrong. I'm looking at it wrong. I do apologize. Hold on. It's not the monastery central square. It is Middle Buddha Central Square. All right. Let's see if we can find that out. Middle Buddha Central Square. Okay. All right. That one, yeah. That one's narrows it down a little bit better. Good. All right. So this is where we're looking at with that map. This is where the noises are that we're going to be hearing. Again, it's the central column, the center horizontal row of the one with the yellow. It's the one with the yellow. That's what it is. That's what we're hearing the sound from. So let's take a look at what that is in the city of Kiev, just to get an idea of how close the fighting must be if we're hearing it from there. Here we go. Okay. All right. All right. So this is what is known as the Middle Buddha Square. You see right there, it says Independence Square, but they come up as the same thing. So we have to assume that there's a local designation of it, and then there's the map designation. All right, so where in regard to the rest of the city is that? Okay. All right, so this is located. As I said, over the past few days, I feel like I've become very comfortable with knowing my way around Kiev. This is in the historic, the tourist area. This is where all the monasteries are, the old churches, the cathedrals, the government buildings are just to the south of there. Embassy Row is just to the southwest of there. And this is right in the area where, here, let's pull up the traffic pattern. That's what we should do. We should take a look at the current traffic patterns because, again, it's 8:13 at night. Let's see what traffic looks like. Live traffic. Now, yesterday, the live traffic option on Google was disabled, and it appears to be not working for me again. Okay, here we go. We got some sirens going off again. Let's go back to the camera then. Did they stop? Sounds like they may have stopped. False alarm? There we go. Nope. We're back into it. All right, again, we're hearing the sirens coming across the sound of the middle box far left. This is all just ramped up within the last half hour where we've started to get reports of large troop movements from the Russian military. And now we're hearing sirens. And if sirens will just going by the way it's been the last couple of times this has happened this morning, the sirens will go off. In about a minute after the sirens go off, you'll start to hear what I imagine are anti-aircraft fire and some explosions. We're looking at 9 different areas around the city of Kiev. Much of the city is blacked out. Let's just see if anything. Those sirens have been going off about every 15 minutes or so. Well, they sound like they're about to stop, right? Like there's an all clear, and then they start right back up again. Well, the dogs in the neighborhood don't like it. A lot of the reports that we're seeing suggest that tonight may be a fairly big night for Russian aggression against specifically Kiev. The talks, as I said, had been going on since about 8 o'clock this morning, our time. They made no progress. And it is believed, at least some of the experts are saying, and who are these experts? Well, a lot of them are foreign affairs people. A lot of them are military people. They're saying that tonight may see a ramp up on Kiev to try and push the talks along. The delegations from both the Russians and is that my dog or is that on the? That's my dog. That's my dog. Okay, that's my dog. The delegations from both Russia and Ukraine left the bargaining table and have gone back to their homes. They plan on meeting again, although there has been no date set. We don't know if they're going to meet again tomorrow, but they broke off with very little progress made. And in the minds of many of the experts, that is going to be a reason why Russia may step up its pressure on Kiev tonight. Last night, they may have backed off a little bit, although there was some bombing, but for the most part, the Russian military last night did not advance in the ways that they had in previous nights. Now, a lot of that is being attributed to the fact that they may be running out of fuel, they may be running out of provisions, they're having logistical issues with the destruction of the railway lines they were depending on to refuel their army. The Ukrainian Defense Forces have taken out almost all of the rail lines that lead from Russia into Ukraine, causing big problems. They're not able to restock, and they're getting to a point now where they're stranded to a degree. Okay, it seems like we've okay. All right. Well, it seems like we've sort of made it through that one. I don't know if we should give it a minute. I wonder what triggers the air raids. I mean, you would think, right? It's some kind of civil defense mechanism that is triggered when something appears on, would it be radar or reports from the field of planes coming in? Again, I don't know. There's people still out just driving around. It seems like we're also getting sound, right, doesn't it? Because we just heard the cars go by. The top middle, it seems like maybe we're getting sound from that. Because that's the only place we're seeing cars. Yeah, it's... That's not me. That's a camera operator. All right, so I'm starting to think that we're the sound is coming from Cam 2, Town Center City, even though it says that it's coming from Cam 4. Okay, let me Let's see that. Let's see where that is. Okay, that one doesn't help us much. Yeah, live traffic is still not loading. So I don't know if that has been, that's a Google thing or if that's my thing, but it was very helpful in the early days of this war when we were able to actually see Russian troop movement based on Google live traffic maps. Okay. All right. So let's do this. While we're watching these cameras, let's go through some of the headlines that are happening today as far as the war of aggression in Ukraine. The negotiations between Ukraine and Russia are over. Nothing has been agreed upon. There will be a second round of negotiations on another day. Both delegates, as I said, have returned to their capitals. No word on what another day means. They didn't say they were meeting again tomorrow. Maybe this is a Russian thing where they've decided. What is that? Is that wind? I can't tell if that's wind or noise. The Russians are going to now take a couple of days off from the negotiations in order to ramp up their bombings, their aggressions, whatever it is they're trying to do. It seems to me that they would, if they were capable of being able to do that, they'd have done that in the previous 4 days. We'll see. The Russians may be thinking, okay, comrade, a couple more days of war. Maybe you come back to the table with new attitude. I don't know. Let's see. Ukrainian President Zielinski has signed an official application for EU membership earlier today. He wanted, he basically demanded that the EU accept Ukraine into their fold now, right now. And he went through all of the steps. They sped it up, and he was seen at a signing ceremony, signing the official document requesting entrance into the EU. This would change a lot of things. It would make some of the aid and some of the sanctions and some of the things that EU nations have already done individually without the full blessing of the EU. It'll make it easier for the entirety of the EU to sort of just sign on and basically protect them as one of their own. Now, this is not the same thing as signing an application to join NATO, although that is also being discussed now, where they're saying that, okay, so if this happens, this could be the first step. EU accept them as a member of the European Union on a fast track after the documents were signed today. Then the next move is, okay, how about you, NATO? We now want to officially join NATO. Bring us in now, which would really be a big deal. I don't know how likely that is, because that would then require military boots on the ground from NATO nations to defend the Ukraine, which is a very big step. Let's see here. Ukrainian. Okay, so here's a whole, I got a whole list of stuff here, just quick hits. I don't know what we're hearing. I'm going to be stopping and being distracted by things that we're hearing. As the first round of peace talks concluded at the Ukraine-Belarus border on Monday, Ukrainian cities, including Kharkiv in the east, were continuing to face some of the heaviest shelling of the war. With reports of significant civilian casualties. We talked about this the last couple of nights. The people in Kharkiv are taking an absolute pounding. Kharkiv, I'll show that to you again, just so we know where that is. Kharkiv is the first city across the border from Russia. It's on night one of the Russian invasion. Kharkiv was the first place that was hit. They had expected to be able to take Kharkiv fairly quickly and fairly easily. It did not go as planned. The people in Kharkiv are badasses. That's the only way that I can describe it. Here is Kharkiv, and there's the Russian border. Okay, let me pull that up so we can see that. There you go. Kharkiv is right here. You can see how close it is. This is the city of Kharkiv. And where is Belgorod? Okay, so the border is right here. Okay, here's the border. This is the Ukrainian city of Kharkiv. And then this is Belgorod. Belgorod is where a very large chunk of the Russian invading forces were stationed. So on night one, when I talked about watching the traffic patterns, it was on night one when we were able to watch this road here, E105, which is the main road that leads from the Russian city of Belgorod directly into the Ukrainian city of Kharkiv. This was bright red at 4 o'clock in the morning, showing heavy traffic again at 4 o'clock in the morning. And that was the first indication that we had that the Russian troops were on the move and that they were about to cross the border. This city right here, boy, I tell you, you want to keep a good thought for the people of the Ukraine. Start with this city. Kharkiv has been absolutely pounded every single night, and they have not given in. The Russian army, the vaunted scary bear, the one of the greatest military forces the world has ever known. That's what we were all led to believe. They have not been able to take this city, the closest city. This is one of the big thorns in Putin's side, that the taking of Kharkiv would have, at least in the minds of the Russians, created a domino effect that would have allowed them to then restock. If they could take the city of Kharkiv, they could move their base of operations from up here in Belgorod, which is right there. They could move their base from Belgorod down to Kharkiv. They would be able to sleep, relax, refuel, restock, use all of the provisions of the big city of Kharkiv. And because they haven't been able to take Kharkiv, they are just stuck out in the hinterlands around here, hungry, running out of food, unable to resupply. Fuel is low, and the people of Kharkiv have just been taking a pounding. So that's it's important to note. Like I say, we're all keeping good thoughts for the people of the Ukraine as a whole, but my goodness, the heroes of Kharkiv. You want to talk? I was talking about myth building a couple of nights ago, and how there are certain storylines, certain fables. And I say fables because I find some of them hard to believe. We've heard about the Reaper of the Ukraine, right? The Reaper of the Ukraine is this soldier, this Ukrainian soldier who is supposedly responsible for killing 20 Russian special forces alone by himself. This story was put out. Is it true? Who knows? At this point, the Ukrainian government is doing whatever they can to keep the people of the Ukraine inspired. They're trying to keep morale high. They're trying to give them something to believe in. So there you have the Reaper of the Ukraine. We've also heard about the Ghost of Kiev. The Ghost of Kiev is a fighter pilot who, according to the stories, a Ukrainian fighter pilot who is the first confirmed military ace or air ace of this century. He has been, they a couple of days ago, it was 6. To become a fighter ace, a pilot, you have to have 6 confirmed shoot downs. On night 3 of this whole thing, he was already an ace. The stories were going around about the Ghost of Kiev. He now, the latest Ghost of Kiev tallies is that he's got 12. So, again, is the Reaper of the Ukraine a real person? I don't know. Was Paul Bunyan a real person? Something like that. Is the Ghost of Kiev a real person? I don't know. Was John Henry a real person? See, these are legends, possible legends designed to keep the Ukrainian people inspired. We had the Snake Island 13, the 13 soldiers who were basically defending the island of Snake Island, which is off the coast of Odessa, off the coast there in the Black Sea. It was a target of Putin's because Putin has some sort of weird connection to it. He wanted Snake Island. It's a very little actual use. It is a strategic point there on the Black Sea, but it's a small rock island with a very small base and a house. Putin is said to covet this island because it is the mythological home of Achilles in Greek mythology. So the 13, the Snake Island 13, were Ukrainian soldiers who were surrounded by Russian Navy ships, and the Russian Navy said, "Lay down your arms, or we will bomb you." And they said, "F you." That was the response. F you. They were all killed. Snake Island is now in control of Putin's forces. They're not so much. They're a little bit more realistic because, as I said, we have the audio of that. We have the radio transmission audio of the Russian Navy making the demands, and then we hear one of the Snake Island 13 basically say, "We're not going to put our weapons down. F you, Russian Navy," and then they're gone. So we have the ones that are quite possibly myths in people like the Ukrainian Reaper and the Ghost of Kiev. And then we have things that we actually have some proof about, the Snake Island 13. And along those lines, the people of Kharkiv, the people of Kharkiv. I mean, and that's, these people are really doing it. We're watching it. These people are standing down the vaunted Russian military, and they were believed to be the first people who were going to fall, and they still haven't fallen. All right, what's this? I think we're starting to hear some, that may have been wind. Hold on, let's go back to the cameras. I thought I just heard something, but it may, in fact, just be wind. We heard the bottom of the hour church bells a minute ago. We'll be hearing those at the top of the hour. It's now been 12 minutes since the last time we heard the air raid sirens going off in Kiev. It is 8:32 at night there. Okay, back to the headlines as we watch this. A senior U.S. defense official told reporters that Russian forces advanced towards Kiev by around 5 kilometers in the past 24 hours, putting them roughly 25 kilometers outside the city center. Journalists in the Ukrainian capital are reporting missile fire and loud explosions now. We didn't hear them. It was before we signed on, but I heard them. There were some definite bombs and some what sound. There you go. Some of that. That sounds like anti-aircraft fire. False alarm, weather balloon, flock of ducks, whatever you want to call it. Russia has deployed nearly 75% of its assembled combat power inside Ukraine. Now, that 75% is not 75% of the Russian military. That is 75% of the estimated 200,000 troops that they had amassed along the border. So there's still 25% who are still on the other side of the border, bringing up the rear. 75% has been deployed, and there hasn't been a whole lot of progress. As we say, they still haven't taken one major Ukrainian city. They are bogged down in the hinterlands, the outskirts of these cities. And the belief was that they were going to be able to roll into these cities and take them. 5 days into the war, Russia has still not achieved air superiority over Ukraine. With its ground forces running out of gas and having logistical problems, this has been a major setback for the Russian military. That's a big deal. Again, the Russian Air Force was believed to be the scariest aspect of this war. It was thought that the initial invasion would be the initial land invasion would be preceded by just merciless bombing from the Russian Air Force. They were going to take control of the airports. They were going to take control of the skies. They were going to ground any Ukrainian defense forces from taking flight. That hasn't worked. That hasn't happened. That's another thing that they failed at. The Russian army has failed at securing the airspace over the Ukraine. It's, the first couple of days, if you've been following us here with these special reports that we did on Saturday and Sunday and Friday as well, the first few days I was like, well, this is good. And I was almost projecting a feeling of, well, isn't this lucky? Here we are now in day 5, and it is starting to not look like it's luck. It's starting to look like it is due to the fierce fighting, the fierce defense of the country of Ukraine by its very own citizens, and quite possibly to some degree, the overblown might of the Russian military, possibly even incompetence of its military strategists and rulers. This is not working out well for them. This was supposed to be a cakewalk. The president of Belarus, I'll give you an example, back in January, when there was talk of an invasion, when it was being rumored that Putin was losing his patience with the Ukraine, the president of Belarus said that the Russian military would control the whole of Ukraine within 2 days. It's been 5 and they control nothing. They control nothing. They control a couple of small towns on the outskirts of big cities. But as far as the major metropolitan centers of the Ukraine, the Russians have squat. They've achieved squat. They've got now 2. Yesterday we learned about their there was this guy, and again, forgive me, I don't have his name, and you know what? Fuck him. I don't care about his name. We don't need to make him famous. But a very well-regarded Russian general who was in charge of the Russians' assault forces, their special forces, who was one of the guys who planned and led the initial invasion. He's dead. He's dead. His body was found on the side of a road next to a bombed out column of Russian military that was taken out by a Turkish drone. He's dead. And now today we hear of another Russian general, another one of the big, not one of the not one of the generals that dresses in the fancy dress uniforms and meets with, Putin and the defense people. We're talking about the actual generals. We're talking about the Pattons. We're talking about the Rommels. We're talking about the Bradleys. These generals, the generals who are actually out there in the field. 2 of the biggest Russian generals have now been confirmed killed in combat. 2 of their best war strategists, the guys who were planning this whole thing. So, as I say, it's not going well. The official says that the Russians' goal continues to be to encircle Kiev from multiple locations and to capture the cities of Kharkiv and Mariupol to isolate eastern Ukraine. Well, boys, you can dream. You can dream, but you've been trying to capture the city of Kharkiv since the start of this thing, and you might be making some progress just through pure attrition and the absolute exhaustion of the brave citizens of Kharkiv. But keep dreaming, boys. Keep trying. In the town of Berdansk, which is now under Russian control, this is one of the small towns that I was telling you about, residents shouted at the occupying troops to go home and sang the Ukrainian national anthem. So, again, I've been saying this. Okay, wait, we've got breaking news. I was just telling you about Snake Island. Breaking news. CNN is reporting right now in this moment that the Ukrainian Navy is saying that the defenders of Snake Island are alive and well. Okay, again, this is according to the Ukrainian Navy. Boy, do I hope that's true, right? These are the people that told the Russian Navy to F off. Ukrainian Navy, defenders of Snake Island are alive and well. We'll probably have to wait. I mean, I'm obviously pro-Ukraine and anti-Putin in this thing. But again, we have to worry about the information coming directly from the official Ukrainian sources as far as the publicly disseminated information. They are trying to keep their people inspired. They're trying to give them hope. They're trying to make them fight. So whether this is true or not, I don't know. It's CNN. It's is this Frederick Pleitgen? I don't know who's reporting this. Ukrainian Navy defenders of Snake Island are alive and well. Let's hope that's true, because boy, would that be cool. Hey, how awesome would it be to be one of the defenders of Snake Island? When this whole thing is over, This whole thing is over. You're never buying a steak dinner again. You walk into any restaurant in your country, people are going to give you the best table. You're going to be dating the best looking women. This is going to be something. This is a rock star lifestyle that if these guys are actually still alive, good for them. And specifically the guy who said F you, the guy who actually said that. That guy's, he's going to be the Mick Jagger of this band. He's going to be the, that's great news. That's great news. I choose to believe it. Why not? Because we need optimism. Why dwell in the pessimism, right? Let's be optimistic. As the first round of talks ended on the Ukrainian Belarusian border, Ukrainian representatives Zielinski advisor Mikhail Podolyak tweeted that the Russian side was extremely biased. Expectations of a breakthrough remain low. As peace talks were just beginning, Ukrainian's interior minister said dozens of civilians had been killed and hundreds wounded by indiscriminate shelling in Kharkiv, a city of 1.4 million on the border with Russia. That's the city that we were talking about, that we were looking at. French President Emmanuel Macron had a phone call with Russian President Vladimir Putin in which Putin said a deal is possible only if Russia's legitimate security interests are unconditionally taken into account. Who knows what that means? Apparently they talked for an hour and a half. I said this earlier. It's like Macron. Sit down, Macron. Zielinski's office called for an immediate ceasefire and the withdrawal of troops from Ukraine. That was the demand of the Ukrainian side during these talks earlier today, as several high-ranking Ukrainian officials headed to the talks, but he expressed little optimism that the negotiations would result in any end to the attacks. Zielinski signed an application on Monday. We talked about this, for his country to join the EU. This a day after European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said Ukraine is, quote, one of us, and we want them in. So that speaks well to the fast tracking of Ukraine being admitted into the EU. 16 Ukrainian children have been killed and 45 have been wounded during the war, while Russia has suffered 4,500 military casualties. Zielinski said in his latest address. International monitors have not, however, been able to verify these numbers. Zielinski said that he will allow prisoners with combat experience to be released to help defend the country and compensate their guilt. Okay? I don't know how that would go over with the Fox News crew if America was under attack, but man, look. Anybody that can hold and fire a gun, let's get them out of here, okay? This is not about whatever the hell it is you're in prison for. This is about, let's hope they're at least keeping, well, I don't know. Do you want to send the psychotics to the front line? Maybe you want to send the crazy, murderous goons to the front line. Just keep tabs on them. Just, I don't know, put like some kind of monitoring device in them. You're going to need to scoop some of these people up, I imagine, after this is all over. Zielinski said that he will, Ukrainian Deputy Defense Minister also claimed that Ukraine has received thousands of requests from foreign volunteers to join a new international legion to fight Russia. We talked about this, one aspect of this last night, the gathering in Warsaw of retired